to our podcast, Unmute Now. This episode is a very special episode because we are celebrating International Women's Day. Before we really get into today's discussion, and before I introduce you to some very wonderful ladies, I have to first say we have, as usual, my three best friends. We have Angela.
Hi.
Nattassa.
Hi.
Raquel.
Hello.
And I'm Yolande. International Women's Day this year is celebrated under the theme Choose to Challenge. And so this episode, we are going to be featuring our very own 6 women within Northern Ireland from the ethnic minority community who we feel have been doing remarkable things. There are many such women, and there are many organizations at this time that are celebrating International Women's Day and featuring many of the ethnic minority women. But we are going to be presenting you today with 6 very special women. So with no further ado, I'm going to introduce you, ask them to introduce themselves. So we have, first up, our first 2 guests, we have Vivian and Dr. Manal. I'm going to start with Vivian. Hey, welcome.
Thank you for having me on your show.
Tell us about yourself, Vivian.
Yeah, I'm Vivian, just as you have said, and a lot about myself. I'm married, so I'm not searching, so I haven't. Just to be clear. That's it. Take care. So with kids, and then I do work in the community. I do counseling, and I work with ethnic minorities sometimes. And it happened to be that's work I really enjoy doing. I tried doing other things in the past, but whenever I started doing counseling, I find that's something I really enjoy doing. And when I'm not working, I love gardening, but that really started during COVID.
That's okay. Where did you originally come from to Northern Ireland?
Yeah, I came from Nigeria. I was born in Nigeria, yeah.
Very good.
So during the COVID, I found out that I love gardening, and I started doing gardening.
We're probably going to have a gardening episode.
Take us to your backyard.
All right, okay. So Dr. Manal, tell us, who is Dr. Manal?
My name is Manal. I just moved to Northern Ireland back in 2006, long time ago. I'm originally from Sudan. I'm a doctor by profession, but I like working with women, especially the disadvantaged women and women from ethnic minorities. And I am here now celebrating the Women International Day, which is an event that I don't actually missed, and I celebrated to the maximum. I actually graduated from a university, which is All Women University.
Wow.
And they,
Well done.
thank you. And I'm a chairperson of Africa House, the organization that supporting the African community in Northern Ireland. So I'm doing a part of volunteer job as well.
Let me come back to you, Vivian, and just wanted to ask you, what are the challenges that you have faced as a migrant ethnic minority woman? And just tell us, what are the things that you have had to deal with?
Oh, there's so much. You don't even know where to start. But it's something that you go through. You know, like when you go through this, you find out that you're actually growing from those things that you have gone through. It's not something that stops you from doing what you want to do. Sometimes what I have been through has actually been what pushed me into doing things. And then I realized that, oh yeah, this is what I need to be doing. And I remember, like, whenever I started my counseling, I remember one of the clients that came in one day, and then she was like, oh, she's looking for the professional. I'm like, oh, okay. I said, oh yeah, you're welcome, that's really good, yeah, you're in the right place. And then she's like, I'm like, who do you want to see today? She told me the name of the person she want to see. I said, oh yeah, that's me. She was like, no.
Oh no.
So, but then it's something that when you see it happen, it kind of makes you to understand, you cannot hide your color. That is who you are. And it makes you to feel like, if you are a minority, definitely you're gonna face that. And it builds you up, and it makes you to also know what you're doing so that you do it to the best of your knowledge.
Maybe the challenge that I faced is to get the women to talk to Vivian. So, being from Sudan myself, so I know that it's very hard for women to talk about their problems, whether it's, like as I mentioned, my field is obstetric and gynecology, whether it's, like something concerning that, or is it emotional, or something involving them at the, like socially, or at the family level, or at the community level. So being here for a long time, knowing, like women's rights as it should be, I developed this, I think it's, maybe it's a talent, I can say, just to let them speak and let them talk and let them access, the facilities that they're provided here, and to ask for help. There are certain things that they cannot, because of cultural background and religious background, they cannot talk, or they feel shy. They don't have the confidence, let's say it like that. So just trying to teach them the rights, and it's okay, to go and seek help. And actually, I feel it's working slowly, but you can see a success there.
I just wanted to ask, both ladies, in closing off this B segment here, I'm going to give you an option of 2 questions, and I'll start with Dr. Manal. What is something that you want to choose to challenge, whether in your career or in your community, or is there something that you would like to raise the volume on, like bring awareness to? And I'll start with you, Dr. Manal.
I want to see every woman knowing her right and coming up and talking and save herself, being closed into herself, and to speak up, to build the confidence to speak up. And it's always okay, to address your problem. And no one is there without any problem. And just to make sure that you are speaking to the right person to get the right help.
Very good. Brilliant. And Vivian?
I want to give a shout for people to be aware of diabetes, because it's something that I find out that a lot of people from minority don't really know much about diabetes, and a lot of people have it without even them knowing. Not until it becomes complicated, and then they now find out that, oh, this is what I have. And then people, even though you don't do the test, but you can just do your risk assessment to check, because if you're from minority, you already have a high risk. If you have parents that have it, you're already at a higher risk. And there are so many things that you cannot change. And also with age, people also get it. So without you even saying, I've been living a healthy life, just all that. So I just want to give a shout for diabetes that people should.
Okay, well, we're going to have to wrap this first segment up. This is our first 2 guests. There's 4 more remarkable women to come, and we know Vivian is passionate not only about counseling but also about diabetes, and we really want to thank both of them. Dr. Manal, we know that you've been doing a lot of work within the community, Sudanese women, as well as the youth community, and we really want to thank you both so much for joining us on this episode where we are choosing to challenge.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we're going to continue right on today's podcast with our next 2 guests, some beautiful ladies with us today. We've got Sasha, say hello. Hello. And we've got beautiful Grace.
Hi.
Welcome. And so we've been putting the ladies that we've had so far, and then the 2 of you and the other 2 to come, we've been putting them on the spot to tell us about themselves. I don't want to do you an injustice. I want you to tell us who Sasha is.
Who is Sasha? I wonder this often. In my early 20s, I am still figuring that out a little bit, you know? But the essential information is my name is Sasha Samara. I am a singer-songwriter. I am Malaysian-Irish. My dad is from Malaysia. So yes, what else? What else can I even say? Before I decided I wanted to pursue music full time, I trained in illustration. So I'm coming from a background of like multiple creative disciplines. So that's really fun. And I think that's all I have to say.
This year's Northern Ireland Music Prize Award. And Sasha was the winner in the contender category, wasn't it? Yes.
So tell us a proper title.
Okay. Hello, my name is Sasha Samara, winner of the OEA Contender Award at the Northern Irish Music Prize 2020.
Well done. Well done. And Grace, tell us who is Grace.
So, apart from being beautiful.
Let's not go there.
My name is Grace Abosi. I'm originally from Ghana. I've been in Northern Ireland for 16 years.
Wow.
No. UK for 16 years.
Okay.
Northern Ireland for 13 years.
Okay.
You can say I'm a fashion designer.
Yeah, girl.
Like this stuff I have right here. This jackets. I make anything that makes ladies look beautiful outside. I can't do anything about the inside. But the outside, you can call me.
Including what you're wearing.
Yes.
Gorgeous.
Wow, lovely. And she's rocking the International Women's Day colors.
Yes. I was told purple.
Very
good. Very good. Right. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Well, Grace, I've actually benefited, I think, from one or two of your pieces, your jewelry pieces as well. I know.
Right, like right here.
So in light of the theme for this year's Women's Day, what sort of challenges have you been facing in terms of what you do?
When somebody introduces somebody to me and they don't know that I'm a colored person, and they meet me, they go, oh, I think I'll get back to you.
Do they ever?
Yeah. Then that's it. They're not judging you on your abilities, but because you are not maybe Irish, so they go, I'll get back to you, and that's it.
How are you finding people accept the kind of work that you're producing?
Now it's much better. Some time ago, people actually call the African print costume. So it's my aim to make sure that you don't use the word. It's like somebody wearing a suit in Africa, and someone like, oh, you see the man in the costume.
Yes.
Wow.
So I don't want you to say a costume because summertime, many people wear print.
Yes.
You wouldn't describe the print as costume during the summertime.
Yeah.
So I want you to have it as your everyday outfit if it's summer. It's lovely, and I mean, colors make people happy.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of celebrity endorsement now with African prints, so we're really happy for that.
Yeah, go African.
Come on.
And yourself, Sasha, what sort of challenges are you choosing to challenge or that you're facing in your field?
I think a challenge that I come up against occasionally, like I'm very lucky that the Northern Irish music scene for the most part is very supportive and is becoming increasingly more progressive, but it tends to be very hugely male dominated. And so challenges that I come up against, really, they come from the sort of external, like the external environment of constantly being surrounded by men and not really having a lot of women to look up to show you the way. And of course that is changing now, and there are so many incredible women in this in the Irish music scene. But yes, I find that like not seeing a reflection of myself in the music scene has like given me this challenge of like, delegitimizing myself almost, because I'm like, oh, well, I can't see anyone else doing what I want to do. Can I even do this? Like, if I want to pursue production in music as opposed to just, you know, being a singer or songwriter, you kind of look into that field here and you're like, I don't see anyone doing that who is a woman.
And Sasha will be performing for us later, guys, so that means she has overcome. I don't know if Grace managed to say how she feels she's overcome those challenges.
Not yet. I'm still in the process because I need to see almost half of Northern Ireland in African praise.
Vision.
So the vision is still in progress. So we'll get there.
Very good.
Sooner or later.
Well done. We're rooting for you.
So ladies, if you were to look at somebody else who's coming up in the same line that you are, I'm going to start with you, Grace. What would your advice to these people be?
I would say stay true to yourself.
Lovely.
Because there are certain things you will ask me to sew and I wouldn't.
Okay.
Wow.
That's interesting.
So don't let anybody let you do anything you don't want to do to drive you away from your cause. Don't let, like, if you ask me to make you short about that, I wouldn't.
You're not going to do it.
Make you a dress that is split all the way up there. I can't do that for you. So I would stay true to yourself. Be who you are, and it's very important that I would say stay true to your beliefs. It's very important in any job or any industry.
Very good.
And I can't believe Grace hasn't mentioned her online sewing classes.
Yes,
and that's because I've recommended a friend who is trying to teach herself to sew. And so Grace is already doing good work in trying to put people on this course that she's on, this pathway.
The class actually started because most people call when they go to the shop, they get clothes, it's too long, it's too short. And they always bring it to me. I'm like, you can easily do this if you have a machine. And I'm like, let's do this. Let me teach you some basic sewing stuff. You can trim your own top, shorten some skirts. Like people always go, you always have new clothes on. I don't.
Upcycle.
I just upcycle it. I mean, like, I just take the sleeve off and put something else on it. I mean, just put a zip somewhere, and it's always something new.
I have to point out though, Grace, people like you have an eye for things like that. People like me, they try it and it's like,
That's why I'm trying to encourage people to do some of these things for themselves.
Well done.
Sasha, question to you. If somebody else was coming up in the business, what would your advice to them be?
Where do I start? I think something that's really important, especially as a woman in music, is to kind of like reiterate Grace's point, is really be true to yourself. Like, you know what you like, you know what your taste is. I think it's really, really cool to like get other people alongside, because sometimes, you know, people will have thoughts that you never could have thought of, and that will spark something else in your musical journey. But in the end, you know, the voice in your head and your gut is like the most important thing to listen to. And I think to sort of come back to what I was talking about before, my other piece of advice would be like, don't be afraid to learn, and like, don't be afraid if you're not good at something right off the bat, because you know, if, for example, if I'm like, I want to pursue music production. When I first got my hands on like a piece of like recording software, I had no idea what I was doing. Did it sound good? I'll tell you, no, it did not. So yeah, don't be afraid to be a beginner. And if you want to learn something, just go for it. Pick up the guitar, pick up, you know, a recording like instrument, piece of software kind of thing, or singing even. Like, just don't be afraid to be a beginner and persevere into learning something new.
Very good. Excellent. Well, ladies, thank you so much for joining us today. And well, certainly we want to hear from Sasha.
Yeah.
So we're going to hear from her a little bit later on. But I guess maybe just before we round up, would you just tell us if there was anything that you could raise the volume on, that you would really want to bring to the fore for people? What would it be for you? Just briefly, what would you like to just bring to the attention of the wider public?
I think a a resource I would like to direct people to is a directory online called We've Only Just Begun.
Wow.
They are a festival and directory now based in Dublin, and they are a community of women and across the sort of gender spectrum, highlighting women in the Irish music scene. And I would say if you're not listening to any Irish music right now, go and check that out. You will find some cool new artists. I mean, I think off the top of my head, artists I would love to just shout out would be Denise Chyla. She's a rapper, and every time I listen to her music, I instantly feel cooler because her energy is amazing. Who else? Ro, Jealous of the Birds, Riva, Barry, all these amazing artists. I could go on forever. But yes, I would say that if you're not already listening to and engaging with the women in the Irish music industry, then go get on it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And Grace, what about you?
Mine is really what I've heard a lot of women say when they come to me. Oh, make me beautiful to meet somebody.
Oh.
So I always say, the beauty may take you there, but your character.
Woo, good one.
Your character will keep you there. So I can make that from the beginning. I said I can only make you beautiful outside, but when you do get that person, make sure your character is able to take you there. So I want to tell all the women, our characters will keep us wherever we are.
Well done. Tassa's going to speak, but I'm sitting here thinking of the numerous fights Grace and I have had when I've gone to her place to get something made. Yes. I'm not even going to go there. Tassa, over character kept you there. My character keeps me going back.
Her work keeps you going back.
Thank you, Tassa. Over to you.
No, I just wanted to say, because I have a soft spot for creatives. So if you'd like to share your social media platforms so people can find you and find your work, now would be the time to do so. So Sasha, you can share your social media.
Okay, well, you can find me on Instagram and on Twitter at Sasha Samara _ because Sasha Samara was taken. And yes, you can find my music on SoundCloud under Sasha Samara and Spotify and Apple Music and any major streaming service. So
Very good.
Well done.
And Grace?
On any social media platform, it's Awos House of Fashion. Anywhere. On Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
And that's AWOS?
Yes,
House
that's
of Fashion.
my middle name. Yeah.
Okay.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Now, just before you ask her to do it, Sasha hasn't actually mentioned what she plays.
Oh, yes.
Mystery.
It is a mystery. Who will ever find out? It's a secret. So I play, my primary instrument is the baritone ukulele. So it's like a ukulele, but very big.
All right, so we've had a great chat, brilliant demonstration of the beauty that Grace creates on the outside.
That's
Remember
right.
that?
See the other one?
And the other one? Fantastic. Lovely.
Well done.
Thank you.
And so now we're going to hear from Sasha. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our beautiful Sasha Samara.
Well, ladies, this is Sunflower. I hope you enjoy it.
I want to hear your voice. Won't you cut through the noise? I'm lost in my frustration, lost in all translations. I crave your clarity. Words were my weapons once, but now I've tied knots into my tongue. I'm trying to be grateful while I'm begging for a breakthrough. I need you close to me. Like the leaves can't escape the evergreen. I know you won't let go of me. When I lose myself in waters deep, can swim to set me free. If you're the sun, then I'm your sunflower. Turn my head from the shadows, lift my eyes a little higher, right above the tree line. Deep breath, I'm gonna be alright. Ooh, I'm your sunflower, follow your light. I follow you blind, planted in your ground. I won't fear when the night comes around. The panic comes in waves. You settle me with grace. I wobble in the moment, sick down to my stomach, but you don't run out of peace. I tend to run away. I duck and hide my face, but you are never angry. You're patient in the panic. You build a bridge to me, like the petal captivates the bee. You don't tire of my company, and even when my wounds go deep, I delight in you and you in me. If you're the sun, then I'm your sunflower. Turn my head from the shadows, lift my eyes a little higher, right above the tree line. Deep breath, I'm gonna be alright. Ooh, I'm your sunflower, follow your light. I follow you blind, planted in your ground. I won't fear when the night comes around. You wait and motion forward. I'm rushing to catch up. I'm hungry for your goodness. I know that this is love. Sometimes I get unsteady, pull roots up from the stem. I feel the petals wither, break my own neck, but then you're still the sun, I'm still your sunflower. Turn my head from the shadows, lift my eyes a little higher, right above the tree line. Deep breath, I'm gonna be alright. Ooh, I'm your sunflower, follow your light. I follow you blind, your love will not run out. There is no room for doubt that you're the sun and I'm your sunflower. Turn my head from the shadows, lift my eyes a little higher, right above the tree line. Deep breath, I'm gonna be alright. Ooh, I'm your sunflower, follow your light. I follow you blind, planted in your ground. I won't fear when the night comes around. When the night comes around, I won't fear when the night comes around. I won't fear when the night comes around.
All right. Thank you so much, Sasha. That was brilliant. And so we're going to be talking to our next two guests this evening. We have Andrea and Joan. I'm going to let Andrea and Joan tell you a lot about themselves, or as little as they feel comfortable sharing. So ladies, give them a welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We're going to go with you, Andrea, first. So tell us, who is Andrea?
Andrea Montgomery is, what am I? I am a Canadian, I carry a Canadian passport, but I was born in India and I grew up mostly in Southeast Asia with a little bit of time in Switzerland. So I'm kind of a nomad. And about 14 years ago, I set up a theatre company called Terra Nova Productions. I had met my lovely Northern Irish husband by then, and I realized I think I'm going to stay in Northern Ireland. And when I looked around, that was the gap. There was nobody making intercultural work, looking at how to bring, you know, the blow-ins together and onto the stage, and also how to build things that brought people who are Indigenous Northern Irish people together with those of us who are not from here, and also to take stuff from here to the world. So we do a bit of all of that. And yes, well, we're 14 years old, so we're still going strong, even in lockdown.
Yeah. Amazing. So Joan, tell us as much as you want to tell us about yourself.
Okay.
Who is Joan Boyle?
Right. So I'm Tanzanian. My family are from Kilimanjaro, but when I was about 3, my parents moved to Italy. So I grew up in Italy, and fast forward, studied in the UK, have 3 children, married a Northern Irishman, qualified as a lawyer in London, met my Northern Irish husband in London, actually, and it's very strange. They have this ability of bringing you back home.
They want to just curb that nomadic lifestyle, not a nomad.
Exactly. So we did eventually move back in 2007, and my 3 children are very much rooted in Northern Ireland.
Within your own experiences, either as a woman or within your profession, what are some of the challenges that you would have faced? I'm going to go reverse. Going to talk to you, Joan, about that first.
Right, so the first challenge I faced, I think, when I qualified before I qualified as a lawyer, was my interview. And I arrived at this big city law firm, and I told them I've come for my interview. And they sent me to the catering department. So that was quite some time ago, but it was my first experience that people didn't really see me as I saw myself.
Whoa.
And it's had a lasting impression.
Painful.
And it was quite painful, and the aftermath was so messy. Everybody really didn't know how to react, and it kind of taught me a secret code at work about how you deal with unconscious bias, because the person who sent me to catering was definitely, that was what happened. But there was also the added dynamic of being female, being quite small in a very male-dominated environment, and often having to, try and exercise some form of influence where people are not really
power.
Exactly, and often I'm working with very I'm a corporate lawyer, and I work in London and for a big pension fund, and I basically partner with the asset management team, so we basically invest a lot of money, and often you will switch that Zoom camera on and people will just look at you. Whoa. And you wonder, how much are they listening to what I'm saying? Or are they just focusing on what they see? And often you have to deal with aggression. So every single day I have to really have a lot of resilience.
I want to just interrupt you for a minute before we talk to Andrea and ask Angela, as a member of Pivot and being in the profession of law herself, if she's had some of those same experiences. I don't know, Angela, what do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, you're always conscious. I think there's a difference, though, interesting dynamic here, where for me, my name goes ahead of me. Right? Angela Ifonlaja, they know what to expect. You, on the other hand, I'd be interested to know that dynamic of Joan Boyle, which is a very,
non-committal.
Wow. And then, like you said, the Zoom camera comes on, or you walk in the room. Do you ever get a sense of they expected something?
Oh,
and
gosh.
Now
my general counsel, when she employed me, she let slip that, I've told them I've employed someone called Joan Boyle, and it'll be quite amazing when they realise that you're not what they expect.
Yeah.
Because at the time I had dreadlocks and
this is cool.
Very nice ones, I have to say. Lovely.
And I'm very interested because obviously for those who would have been following our podcast would know that I'm actually studying law. So I'm thinking I'm getting cold feet now. But no, once I put on red lipstick and high heels, I'm good to go.
So often I used to I didn't have my photograph on the system. I chose not to. And often I will just log into a call without the camera on. And I might switch it on towards the end.
Andrea, I want to ask you the same question. In your field, perhaps, or even as a woman, what are some of your experiences?
I think there are different kinds of prejudices that one as an immigrant, but I'm very aware of the intersectionality that I occupy is different, for instance, the one that Joan occupies. What I would say is that there's the visual and the auditory, that those are going to be in the mix as well. So my issue would be the auditory, perhaps prejudice, and I think that there's also in any society there are what I would call acceptable prejudices, and it certainly is the case in England that it is acceptable to make remarks about fat Americans. So to be a sort of a curvaceous lady with a North American accent. I certainly have faced remarks in the Guardian newspaper. I've faced remarks, that there's been versions of that because I think people see the United States as being a global target, and I'm not American, but I happen to fall into that category. So there's sort of issues around there that were a relief when I came to Northern Ireland that was not the case, and my accent changed from being a very British English accent to being back to my Canadian accent in about 3 weeks when I moved here. The arts in Northern Ireland have had a really tough time. So whenever the crumbs on the table are few, then there can be a real sense of needing to protect our artists and our theatre and how people will campaign and they will say it's essential that our arts and the voice of Northern Ireland is heard, and I kind of think, who's inside that circle sometimes?
Yeah.
Which comes to the question.
I was going to point to Nattassa and Raquel because it's interesting that it seems as if we all share some similar characteristics. So I know these two are artists, they work within the area, so I want to hear from them both, whether it's a question or a comment.
I'll let Nattassa go first. I was just going to question Andrea, in terms of the theatre, what are some specific challenges that you find that you face in terms of maybe putting ethnic artists in non-traditionally ethnic roles, or have you encountered that? Like people will see a play or something and think, well, I didn't think that character could have been black or something like that.
I'd say probably, because I'm pretty clear about Terra Nova's ethos and I hammer away about interculturality and the importance of either colorblind casting or else intercultural casting where you're driving a message and an interpretation home. So for instance, when we did Midsummer Night's Dream, we were really precise about that. And our mixed race cast was saying something about the issues of peace in a racist environment. But so I think they're not surprised if they come. What we found is we're a bit of a Marmite company. So I think those who love us really love us. And it's broad. It's all ages, and it's Indigenous and immigrant. So doesn't fall according to any particular group. But what I would say is there can be a perception that it's community work. So that idea that there is a pathway through to the professional arts is not necessarily something that people they don't quite realize. So I often get, I didn't realize. That comes quite a bit.
Okay.
What always intrigued me is when I was training to be a lawyer, one of the things that people kind of used to throw as a jibe, we'd be like, oh, well, all lawyers are actors anyway. Do you feel that when you are going through and doing various things as far as your profession is concerned, do you feel a certain level of, I need to act?
Absolutely, yes. I'm probably not as nice as I usually am. You have to have a lot of resilience. You have to put up with quite a lot of, if you're a corporate lawyer or if you're in court, you're constantly negotiating and having to, find loads of tools, and that requires, you cannot allow your own self, your emotional self to come into the picture. You've got to do the job. So definitely you're acting because you're trying to to get something done with no emotion.
Sure. Yeah. And Andrea, what about you? Obviously, that's what you do. But beyond that, in terms of just interacting with people on a personal level or professional, do you feel that need yourself?
I would say that actually, now that I've really, this 14-year commitment to intercultural theatre actually feels less like acting than anything ever has before. It feels to me as if there's a real connection between who I am as a person and the kind of art that I make. So it feels like a restful place to be.
Wow.
And the acting, if I do any acting, it'll be around, things like how do you hold a room and how do you make sure that you have enough status that people can relax and trust you. And I might do a bit of that. But really, the journey, it's been a sort of 30-year journey in the theatre for me. And the last 14 years have been closer to who I really am. So I feel like it's a place to rest.
Listen, ladies, it was such a pleasure speaking to you, and I'm going to put you back on the spot with that question.
What would you like
what
to
advice, if any, that you would give to perhaps women that have aspirations in this profession or another, just in general, or what would you like to raise the volume on?
Well, I picked up on something Andrea said, which is how to hold a room. A lot of times I think I'm holding myself back with my own perception of what others think. And I might be correct, but what I need to do is feel empowered. I need to empower myself and project that to others. And I think that once people read that in your demeanour, your expression, they will actually eventually they go along with it. And sometimes I achieve that. It depends how resilient and strong I'm feeling each day, but it really is about owning your space, owning your own ability to empower yourself.
Well, I guess your message of empowerment. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And Andrea?
I think I would say something about, if I'm speaking to people like myself who feel engaged by the issues of race and of gender, and want to do something good in the world, I think I would encourage people to do, I think what Joan is saying is really important for women, but I also think what is important is when we step up and when we step back. And by stepping back, it's knowing the time not to hold the room because it's your turn to support other people. And other times it's knowing when to step up and speak and defend and be the one who says, can I just ask, or I'm sorry, but, using a little bit of gentle, non-confrontational body language. So I think that is, for...
Back to acting.
I think that's what I would say is think about when to step up and think about when to step back.
Well done. Listen, we're coming to the end. Well, we're at the end of our podcast, I should say. It's been 6 amazing ladies. It's been a real pleasure. Ladies, gentlemen, our audience, happy International Women's Day for all you wonderful women, especially out there. We thank you so much for watching. We hope you've been empowered because that's really what we're about. And it's a wrap for today's episode. Thank you. And I always pass the social media handles over to Nattassa.
If you'd like to contact us on social media, you can find us at On Mute Now on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, or you can send us an email to onmutenow1@gmail.com. And find us on our podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, anywhere you listen to find podcasts. Thank you.
And thank you for watching On Mute Now, where we raise the volume on the Whispered Community Conversations. See you next time. Bye. Coming up on the next episode is our Mother's Day special, Funny Mommy. Tune in, guys. We'll see you next time.